how's it going? Today is a good day. I might not say that tomorrow, but today is a good day. I want to talk about how most of us have regrets. And I was raised, and I was a good girl. And as a teen, I did my own thing, and maybe I was wayward for a little bit, or I did certain things in high school. I had a boyfriend, and this and that. I didn't get into drugs or anything like that. And nothing I did could have caused me to be arrested or prisoned or anything like that. And so, yeah, I did the typical teen things. But for the most part, I always respected authority, and I respected my parents. And I've said this before, I joined the military to get out of my house when I was 18 years old. I joined the Army. And so anyways, I disconnected from my mom, but not in a cruel way. I just grew up and moved out. And so I can't really say I've ever said anything cruel, nasty, negative. I try to be kind. I my mom and I, currently don't have a relationship, but I would never say she abused me or whatever. We have different personalities. And so I think when it comes to estrangement, our sons and daughters are going to face a greater challenge in life as they age and their children leave home eventually. I think they're going to have a greater amount of regrets, a greater amount of burdens when they finally wake up and realize they have not been kind, that they have said very, very cruel things, that they have told mistruths, or I hate to say lies, but falsehoods about their parents. I can't imagine what it's like to carry that huge burden throughout my life. I know a lot of us at one time or another just don't care for our parents. Even if we have the best parents in the world, I think it has to do with us becoming independent, breaking free. And instead of saying, Mom and Dad, I need to spread my wings, it's easier to say we have terrible parents, or they're doing terrible things, or they won't let us do X, Y, Z. I remember when my parents divorced and my dad moved in with my grandma. My mom had rules, and I didn't want to live in her house anymore because my dad didn't have rules. I think I was 12, 13 years old at the time. And so I called my dad. We had a corded phone at home with, I don't know, a 12-foot phone cord, which was a blessing back then. And I went and I took that corded phone and I sat in the basement stairs and I cried to my dad and I said, please let me come live with you. And he said, I don't have room for you. And I said, I don't want to live with Mom anymore. And he said, I don't have the room. And I said, okay. And I sucked it up and I moved on. And I made the best of it, obviously. I was, 13, 14. What am I going to do? What am I going to do but put a little knapsack on a stick or a limb and walk down the street like Charlie Brown? I don't know, something like that. But anyways, I can say that. Have I always been the kindest person? Absolutely not. Have I said terrible things about people? Sure, I absolutely I have. And I'm sorry to people that I was unkind to. I truly apologize. Yet when it comes to our sons and daughters today, they might not feel the effects now because maybe they're in school or they got married, they have children, and they're busy. But when they're alone later in life, when their children have moved on and they're doing their own thing, can you imagine what they're going to be faced with? The burdens, the heaviness, the guilt, the shame. Even though they say, oh, it's no big deal. Trust me. I don't know. You can do what you want, but I'm so glad that I don't have to carry certain burdens, and that being one of them. So anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. You can do what you want, and you can treat your parents how you want, but I can guarantee you someday it's going to come back. So that's all I've got, and I will be back.